Hi everyone, it's Tawney. Have you ever watched a YouTube video and seen an influencer talk about a product or brand or a specific type of product and felt like you needed to have that because the influencer told you that it worked well, or they convinced you that it was a good product, or they talked about it enough that you just felt like you had to have it or else you were going to miss out? Well, I have felt that way pretty much about almost everything in my collection. I did do a bit of good, I did do a good bit of shopping today and in previous times where I found stuff that I was just interested in and I went up and picked up. I think that kind of plays into if you're capable of trying products without knowing if they're good or not, like if you're financially stable enough or if you're comfortable enough with something like that. So that's always something to think about. Just wanted to give a quick disclaimer before we get into it. My makeup is like 11 hours old, so I do apologize if I'm looking very like crinkly and oily and gross. My eyeshadow, I'm wearing one of the products and my eyeshadow is like into my crease. I used like a pretty decent, pretty reliable eyeshadow primer and I still didn't feel like it like kept the oils at bay, but that's just how my eyes are and I just kind of have to deal with it and hope it doesn't look too terribly bad. So let's get into it. The first product I want to talk about isn't one that a specific person brought up, but multiple people. And I can't really think of who all talked about it, but it's the Milk Makeup Bronzing Stick in Baked. And it's a matte bronzer and it comes in this giant twist up thing, container, applicator thing, whatever. And you can either put it on your face like this or you can do it on the back of your hand. I like to start out with the back of my hand, and then if I'm not getting the pigmentation I'm looking for, then I'll just go straight in with my sponge or brush. This is a product that I like and I'm glad I have in my collection, but it's definitely not my favorite. And it's like, I'm not big on cream products in general in terms of blush, highlighter, bronzer, things like that, contour or anything. And this is a product that kind of, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, how I was going to feel about it, if I was even going to use it. And I've used it a good bit. I'd say more so than any of my other cream products, just because I like to see how it works. And I feel like it looks really nice on the skin. So if you really do like using cream products and think you'll get good use out of this, this is one I would definitely recommend. But this is one that a lot of people talk about and one that I feel like I need to have in my collection. So I picked it up and it's a lot of times on sale. I believe it's Sephora. So definitely keep an eye on that. Use Shop Tagger if you want to get any kind of discounts or any alerts on when things are discounted or on sale. So definitely check that out. The next one is the Colourpop blush stick in Aloha. And this is another one like the Milk Makeup Stick that's a cream product. It comes in a twist up thing and it looks like this. And this one I actually had recommended to me from Kathleen Lights. And not specifically like to me, but like in a video. She talked about this and she reviewed all of the products with whenever they came out with the highlighter and blush sticks. She talked about which ones she liked, which ones were her favorite, and Aloha was her favorite. And we have a very similar complexion unless she gets a tan and then she's like way more medium skin tone than I am, or at least like her skin's tanner than mine is. So she put on Aloha and it looked really pretty on her and I was like, well, that would look really nice on me. So I decided to get it and I do like it, but it's another one of those cream products that I don't use cream products, so I don't really get as much use out of it as like a powder product. The next one is the e.l.f. Ride or Die Lip Balm, and I have the shade Just Peachy, and it doesn't really matter the shade. This one I had recommended to me by Emily Noel, and I think this is one, it's not so much that she recommended it, but multiple people talked about liking it. It comes in kind of like an aluminum tube, which I think could become cracked and like split open at parts, so you kind of have to be careful with that. But I haven't tested it out yet to tell you if I like it or not, but it seems like it'd be a really nice product, and if you're into lip balms, I think this would be a good way to go because a lot of people do like it, and it is really affordable. I think it was like $2 or $3 because it's e.l.f. Just because it's really affordable and cheap doesn't mean that it's good, or doesn't mean that it's bad. So you just kind of have to test it out and see how you feel about it. The Colourpop and Raw Beauty Kristi Luxe Gloss in the shade Glacier is one that I picked up because a lot of people recommended the Luxe Gloss formula, specifically Julia Mazzucato. I didn't specifically pick up this shade because people were recommending it, but I have found that a lot of people do like this shade over the other one. It comes in a little tube like this, very cute, very small, but like still a lot of product. It has the doe foot applicator, and it's a very nice gloss formula. I'm not big on glosses, but this is one I like. It has a really nice scent to it. This one in particular doesn't have a lot of shimmer or glitter in it, but it's enough that it like makes your lips look nice. Like it just adds that extra dimension to whatever lipstick or lip gloss or liquid lip or whatever you're wearing underneath. So I would definitely recommend checking out that formula if you're interested or if you are into glosses. The L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation was recommended to me by Tawney. And I wanted to bring up one of her products because I just want to say that, like, I really miss her. I miss her content, miss her channel. I know there's been a lot of drama surrounding her lately, and we can exclude the drama for, you know, just discussing, like, I miss her reviews. I miss the way she talked about makeup, the way she applied makeup, the way that she really dug deep into how a product worked and showed you the, you know, up close how things looked. And I just thought that her reviews were very real and like it was easy to tell if you were going to like a product or not. Or she was very open about her thoughts on the product, so you know whether or not to waste your time. This was one that she recommended, and it has a very natural finish. It's leaning toward the dewy side more so than the matte side, but not in any bad way. I think it's a very nice foundation. It's one that I don't use quite as often as I'd like to because I have others that are like my ride or dies. But this is definitely one I would highly recommend picking up, depending, like, even if you have dry or oily skin, even if you have, you know, more preference to matte over gloss or vice versa, or well, dewy, I should say. That's definitely one I think everyone should try out just to see how you feel about it. I bought the Urban Decay Afterglow 8-Hour Powder Highlighter whenever I was at TJ Maxx one day, and I just kind of picked it up and didn't think anything of it. Well, then I watched a video about maybe a year or two ago with Samantha Ravindal, where she talked about this was her favorite Urban Decay highlighter formula or highlighter in general, but it was discontinued or hard to find or something like that. And she said it was in the shade Sin. So I looked at mine. Sure enough, mine is in the shade Sin. So I was so excited to have this, and I've been using it a lot more because it was recommended from her. And I think it's one, if you can find, I would recommend because it definitely works really well. And the formula is very nice and buttery. I bought the Almay Cosmetics Colorette Blush Trio in the Fair Light because Allie Glines, Kathleen Lights, anyone who talks about makeup pretty much that I watch talked about this palette. And this one in particular because it has the shades Castaway, Paraiso, and Scorcher. And Paraiso in particular, the middle one, is the one everyone raved about using. Everyone loved. It was their favorite one in the palette. So I decided to pick it up. Well, I picked it up like 2 days before the new collection came out. So I would definitely recommend testing the new collection as well as this one. The formula is very nice. The prices are very reasonable. I got mine on sale because I bought it off of Poshmark. Though it was brand new, they were still charging, you know, a little bit less than the normal price. But I think it's a very nice formula and it looks really pretty. And I really like all three of the shades. So that kind of made me more likely to buy it than if it were just the one shade we were going after, especially with the price tag, it being $27, $28. You want to like all three and not just one, because that is a lot of money for just one and then to waste two of the other shades. I bought the Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer in the shade Into Sun. And I feel like I should have gone with a darker shade because this one doesn't quite show up on me as much as I'd like it to. But I bought this one on a reference from, I believe, Kathleen and Allie and all these other influencers that kept talking about it. Pretty much everyone who used it raved about it. It's not my favorite, but I will use it from time to time. I think because it is Fenty Beauty and because it's more of an expensive product, I find myself using it more because I know how much money I spent on it and the fact that, like, I don't want to jip myself of buying an expensive product and not using it. So that's one I would say test it if you think you're going to like it, but it's not one that I would definitely encourage you to go buy. However, the L'Oreal Lumi True Match Bronze It Bronzer, I have the shade 01 Light. This one was recommended by Allie Glines. She used it so much that I feel like I had to try it. So I went out and bought it, and it was really expensive. It was like $12.99, $14.99, kind of expensive for a bronzer, but the pan size is so big, and I haven't even come close to hitting pan that I don't honestly care at this point. Like, it was a lot of money at the time, but now I'm like, it was an investment into a good product that'll last me a really long time. So I feel like it was worth it. But this was one that it looks really nice on your skin. It kind of hides any texture. It is a mixture between a contour and a bronzer, so I feel like I can use it both ways. It's one I like to use, especially because it's a little bit more on the cool tone side. I like to use it as my contour if I want a more chiseled look on my cheekbones. I would definitely recommend this one, especially over the Fenty one, but I think they're both pretty good in general. I bought the Covergirl Vitalist Healthy Powder in the shade Buff Beige specifically after watching a video with Tawney that featured Thomas Halpert. He said that his favorite bronzer at the time was this Covergirl powder, but in a deeper shade. And I have found that if I want to set my face more so than like my normal setting powder, and I want to set it all over the face and like especially my cheeks and my forehead and like nose area, I'll use this bronzer. And this one either was or was in the top 3 of my favorite bronzers. I'll link that video in the cards somewhere. But this was like my favorite bronzer. And honestly, for being a powder, it works so well. It does double duty. I'd honestly like to try the powder to see how I like it, since I like using the bronzer in like kind of a finishing type way. I bought the Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Ritz after hearing Julia Mazzucato talk about it about 50 times. She recommended it so much on her channel and said it's her favorite Colourpop Super Shock Shadow, her favorite single shadow, and I really do think that it looks quite nice. It provides a nice amount of glow and shimmer. I'm sorry you can't see it. I'm still working on my lighting, but it has a really nice shimmer. It has a nice brown undertone, like a very transition shade undertone, but not to the point that it's noticeable. So you could use this as your over the lid, just like one shadow look, or you could do it over top of a look like what I'm wearing today, or you could just do it as like glitter on your face, you know, you never know. I think it's a really nice shadow and I'd love to get more use out of it because it's one that I don't pick up much just because I'm not into the formula of the Super Shock shadows, but I'd love to see how I feel about it. The next one, now that I'm all covered in glitter, is the Sultry palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Let me tell you, every time I see this palette, especially the packaging on any kind of website, email, ad, any kind of like Ulta thing, it makes me want to buy it. But then I have to remind myself, you have this palette. You don't need to go buy it again. But it's so pretty. The packaging, the inside palette, the shimmers are so nice. The mattes are so nice. I'm wearing this on my eyelids, but I don't really want to brag about it because my eyes aren't looking the greatest right now. But I was able to create such a nice warm look today. A very nice neutral look. This is a palette I would definitely recommend if you want to check out ABH or if you're interested in getting a high-end palette, because I feel like you're getting a good amount of makeup and a good, like, it's good makeup and the formula's good, so you're not getting gypped in any way. I would definitely recommend that. And I had Jessica Braun recommend that. Julia Mazzucato said that that was her favorite eyeshadow palette up until fairly recently, was like her like go-to palette that she talked about all the time. It's just one that I really like and I'm really glad I picked up. And the final product I have to talk about is the Colourpop Stone Cold Fox palette. This is one that a lot of people lately have been talking about, and specifically Julia Mazzucato. The packaging has this like very snake-like texture to it. It's very nice and very different from Colourpop's like usual way of doing packaging, but it's a really nice palette, and it's really nice if you like cool tones. It has some nice warm tones down here at the bottom, some blacks, and then it has a lot of like lighter tones and shimmers that look really nice on the lid. You can create a very nice neutral look, but then also a very nice like icy, glittery, deep like gray type grungy look. And I feel like it's a really nice overall palette. It's one I'm glad I picked up, and I almost wasn't going to, but then I kept seeing people rave about it and I thought I better buy it, keep it in my collection, then it can be my cool toned palette. It can be the palette that I use anytime I want cool toned looks. If I need to use any of the shimmers, I can just whip it out and use it, because I like to do that with the Kathleen Lights So Jaded palette from Colourpop as well. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Let me know in the comment section below if you've used any of these products and your thoughts, or if there's any that you would recommend that other influencers have recommended to you. I'm sure there's a lot more, but these are just the ones that I've been using a lot and the ones that I kind of thought that like influencers really pushed for me to get. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell somewhere down below so you get notified when I upload. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!